In this episode, I'm sharing some of the important things to focus on before and after launching your business to the world, using a fictional case study, a cafe from the Webtoon, A Whirlwind Campus Affair by Uiyoung or Uiyoung. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. This person. Um, so if you are a self-learning business owner, meaning you haven't had any formal training, education, or qualifications in business, entrepreneurship, and commerce, this episode is for you. Some of you may be like, this is a fictional story. It can't be applied to reality. But I'm a firm believer that a lot of fictional stories have real life truths in them. Not just objective truths, but lessons that the readers can learn from and apply in their own life, depending on the relevance. Like with this case study. So if you're a business owner, this case study would probably help you in the planning and launching of your business. The example I'm sharing could be a little bit far-fetched because the character is kind of an airhead. It may seem like common sense to a lot of you, though it's an industry rule that one should never assume their customer or audience knows what they know. So I really do hope that there aren't people in the world starting businesses when they don't meet the bare minimum requirement for functioning establishment, like with this case study. I know the intro is long, but bear with me here. Even if this case study is a cafe, I believe whatever I'll share in this episode can be applied to other business types, models, and industries as well. So don't feel left out if you're not starting a cafe or any eating and drink based business. So before we begin, again, sorry for the long intro. I just want to start with an apology to the South Korean community. My subject for this case study is a South Korean man with a South Korean name. So if I don't pronounce it well, please forgive me. As you've noticed with the intro, I butchered the creator's name. Also, because I can't read Hangul, I hope I've pronounced that one right as well. I'm not sure what this sign says. So I'm just going to call the business Jaerim's Cafe. Also, I will try to keep out elements of the main storyline and focus only on the cafe owner, but I'm not making any promises. Whatever I could say could sound like a spoiler. So to be safe, if A Whirlwind Campus Affair is on your to-read list on Webtoon, then I suggest you first create a new playlist for branding and webs and business related stuff on YouTube. If you're super meticulous or if you already reached your max count on your watch later list like I have, and save this video there. Go and read up to at least episode 50 before coming back here so that whatever I may say doesn't spoil the story for you. If you are not a Webtoon reader but are interested in reading it, the story is particularly, you can find it in the Webtoon app, but first stay here since you're already here, and you can download the app after listening to what I have to say. Hello, my fellow mortals. I'm your guide, maker, your world building partner, aka a brand experience designer and consultant, and my ultimate golden mission is to help the self-taught in business and their craft bring forth the ideal worlds of fantasy into our current mundane reality. I know that was dramatic. But when I say worlds of fantasy, ideal worlds of fantasy, I mean their businesses and brands. So onto the case study finally. Let me introduce you to Jaerim Yu, part-time art model, dog father, but is also sympathetic to cats, recently single and a cafe owner and barista. After his fiancée left him and had the audacity to invite him to her wedding, Jaerim decides he wants to leave the past behind and start over by opening a cafe with his dog, Jae-sok. But it hasn't been easy for him because he hasn't been getting any customers aside from the main character and her friends who have a more familiar relationship with him. So he's basically not making any serious money. And why is that? Let's first talk about the things Jaerim did right. He did 1.5 things right. He opened his cafe in a popular place. That's the first thing he did right. I'm not sure about the distance, but his cafe rather, is near the university the main character, her friends, her suitors, and haters attend. The 0.5 thing he did right was he offers free refills. So I'm not sure how he can even afford to offer refills when he's not making any money. Editor maker here. I just realized that I said that Jaerim did 1.5 things right when he actually did 4 things right, or maybe 3.5 things right if we're halving the free refills. So aside from opening his place in a popular area and giving free refills, the third thing he did right was making sure his cafe was clean. It looked like a clean space, at least the interactions he had with the main character and her friends. Cleanliness didn't seem like an issue in the cafe. The fourth thing was that he had a concept going on. So maybe if someone gravitated towards the whole industrial feel, which his concept was industrial modern, then they choose his cafe over maybe like a more oriental style or modern, fully modern cafe, or maybe like a girly, trendy cafe. So those are the 4 things he did right with his business. So on to the rest of the episode. Now let's talk about the 3 things Jaerim did wrong that you should probably avoid if you're starting your business or you've already started your business. This is a before launch and after launch. So the first thing he did wrong is he probably didn't do self-analysis before opening his cafe. He may have had moving reasons for starting a business, but even a couple months after starting his business, he's still not qualified to be a barista. I'm not sure if his test buds are so messed up that when he was coming up with his menu items, he didn't realize his coffee was terrible, or because he never actually tested and tasted his menu items before opening his cafe. I have 6 questions that business owners should ask themselves before they launch whatever business idea they have. One of the questions that Jaerim should have asked himself was what were his strengths and weaknesses. If he had asked himself that question, he would do either one of these 3 things. 1, open a cafe in something he's actually good at. Sorry, open a business in something he's actually good at. Or if you wanted to open a cafe, learn how to make coffee and other edible menu items, or hire someone else to do it for him. The second thing he didn't do right was he probably didn't consult an interior design consultant or specialist. Now, this is something I'm not entirely sure about because the interior keeps changing. It doesn't really keep changing. It's inconsistent. And this is no hate or criticism to the Webtoon creator because I know creating Webtoons is hard. The cafe has like good seats, something with a back on it, something with like proper table height and all that. But wherever the main character chooses to sit it doesn't appear anywhere in like the layout of the cafe. However, she always chooses to sit in that spot. So I'm going to assume that those uncomfortable seats are the standard of what is like in the cafe. So with that said, if he did the interior himself, he didn't consult anyone, then he should have consulted someone first of all, because if he had, he would realize the seats he chose are not economically friendly, or ergonomically friendly, depending on what kind of English you use. His desired feel for his cafe was industrial modern concept, and if he wanted that, there were other ways to portray that, because if a customer is sitting in, they would have a rough time reaching for their coffee or enjoying their time in the cafe because of the unfriendly ergonomics, and end up with back pain. The third thing Jaerim did wrong was he didn't do any marketing. Now, the webtoon is not yet complete, but so far there hasn't been any mention of him doing any marketing for his business. So maybe in the future chapters we'll see if Jaerim did some sort of marketing for his business, but so far it doesn't look like he has. So I'm just going to assume he hasn't done any marketing, which marketing is as important as having a product that meets the standard for human consumption. All right, now that you know what not to do when starting your business, I'm going to share what to do. So If Jaerim had found me before he started his business, this is what I'd advise him to do. Again, this doesn't only apply to cafes or any food and drink based business. Almost every other business, both in the physical and digital space, both product based and service based, can take notes from this. If you are planning on starting a business, ask yourself the 6 questions before you do any serious planning to launch your business. This is step 1. The first question is something you should ask yourself after you've done some serious research. Not really serious, but you've done some research on the different models within a particular industry, whatever industry you're trying to enter. So the question is, why do you want to start a business, and why this business specifically? In this case, if Jaerim, wanted to start like a food-based business, he could look at their cafes, their bakeries, their restaurants, their food trucks, their ghost kitchens. He doesn't necessarily have to have a cafe. So yeah, should have asked himself why he wanted to start a business and why this business specifically. Of course, we already know why he wanted to start a business, but why this business specifically? The most common answers people give when they ask these questions are, it's because it's something they're passionate about. Whatever business they're trying to offer is in something they love. They want to monetize their talents. They're pursuing a life of freedom, the time freedom, location freedom, boss freedom. It has always been their dream to get into entrepreneurship. They have seen a problem they want to solve or an opportunity to make money. In James' case, of course, he wanted to start a business because he needed a fresh start from a heartbreak. Why does this question matter? In my own personal opinion, it can help motivate you and pull you out of bed and depression on bad days of business. In James' case, maybe this is an assumption, this is just a story I've concocted in my head. Maybe in his relationship with his ex-fiancée, he was on the receiving end. He was always relying on her. He was always passive in the decision making. He was not like aggressive or forward with his relationship with her. And maybe he saw that as a flaw, and he wanted to change that after, of course, she broke up with him and got married, and decided, the best way for him to not only forget about his, past relationship, but also become the best version of himself is start a business, because with a business you are the front, center, and back head of making decisions. So he can't rely on anyone but himself. The second question is, are you an introvert or an extrovert? This will affect what kind of systems you have in your business and what kind of service you give your customers or clients. Introverts generally have the energy drained after long social interaction, while extroverts can't thrive with being alone for too long. Jaerim seems like a people person, so that means he can offer a normal cafe service, and I'm going to assume everyone knows what a normal cafe service is. But if I was to open a cafe as an introvert, handling people would not be my main task. I'd prefer to be making the coffee, or if I was solo, I couldn't hire anyone. Then I'd create a business system or be in a type of business model that doesn't allow me to always interact with people. So if you're like me, you're an introvert and you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone, of course, do your research so you see if the business models in whatever kind of industry you're trying to enter that can complement your personality. The third question is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? This is the question that Jaerim should have asked himself before he even got the space to open a cafe. If he bothered to practice making coffee at home, he'd realize that, I suck at making coffee. But if he really wanted to open a cafe, he'd either hire someone else to do it, and he just serves or does the back end stuff like handling the suppliers, marketing, and accounting, or he would learn how to do it, like test and taste the recipes before putting them on the menu. YouTube is a great place to learn a lot of things, a lot of barista skills, for example. There are online courses as well as like barista academies that someone can take. Same thing applies to you guys. If there's something you want to start but you're not good at it, either hire someone else to do it for you if you have the money, learn it from YouTube if you don't have the money, or pay someone to teach you if you have the money. The fourth question is, what things do you value and what things do you care about? This is basically to unlock or discover your values and things you'd want your customers or clients to feel when they interact with your business. For example, let's say if Jaerim cared about comfort of his customers, he would prioritize getting comfortable seats and making the entire vibe of the place feel comfy. If he valued like craftsmanship and art, then he would showcase his latest skills and have art pieces in his cafe. The fifth question is, what are your non-negotiables and what's your maybe? This is all about boundaries. So a non-negotiable in this case would probably be having high quality coffee beans. So let's say maybe a customer comes into Jaerim's cafe and he's out of coffee beans. He's finished his stock, and a customer walks in and they want a coffee, but he has instant coffee as like maybe whatever he uses for his own personal like drinks. A non-negotiable, if you valued like high quality ingredients and high quality service, would be no matter who comes through the door, no matter the situation, he should always serve the best quality. And if the instant coffee has like the back kitchen is not on par with the high quality beans that he's run out of, he should tell his customer that, oh, I've run out of beans, I'm so sorry, but I can give you a coupon so that next time you come, you can get like maybe 20% off your order, or maybe you can get like a free cake. So that would be like a non-negotiable. A maybe would be maybe having customers who have pets to sit in and like drink their coffee, or like have his dog get free pets and belly rubs, which ties into the whole comfortability thing, because some people are comfortable around dogs. I'm not one of them. The sixth question is, what's your communication style and how do you like to work? This will determine your business systems and how you interact with your customers or clients or audience. I'll give myself as an example for this question. I communicate better with writing instead of speech. I'm sure you've noticed. So writing articles and stories, texting, maybe emails, but I haven't tried those ones yet. My strengths compared to speaking based media like calls, video calls, and audio calls, even sending a voice note. Whatever I'm trying to communicate would be best communicated in written form instead of speaking form. However, just because writing is my zone doesn't mean I should neglect learning how to communicate with speech. If I never push myself out of my comfort zone, I'll never grow as a business owner, as a service provider, maybe even as a human being. So if maybe you're different from me and you communicate better with speech instead of text, it's really up to you to practice your writing skills or hire someone else who can write for you, depending on what kind of marketing channels your audience and clientele gravitate towards or what you want to use. So those are the 6 questions to ask yourself in step 1. On to step 2 is doing your research, especially if, like Jaerim, you plan to open up a physical location. Then you should do both online and offline research. I would tell Jaerim or anyone else trying to open a physical location to observe what other people within the industry are doing, their strengths, their weaknesses, the things that they're doing that makes them stand out and chosen, and see what he could take from that and apply to his own business to make him stand out as well as chosen. Not copying, just taking inspiration is a completely difference. So from all the media and entertainment I've consumed from South Korea, it seems that cafe culture is really big over there and highly competitive. Though maybe in the media, the K-dramas, the vlogs from Korean content creators, manhwa or webtoons is slightly exaggerated. So if you're South Korean or live in South Korea, please let me know if this is actually a fact. So under the assumption that cafe culture is actually highly competitive in South Korea, him having a cafe that doesn't even meet the standard puts him at a disadvantage, because people would be like, why would I pay to experience something of this standard no matter how close it is to my university, when I can go somewhere else and get better coffee, get value for my money, sit in a more comfortable chair, and be able to do work maybe with my classmates. Which ties into step number 3. Have a good product. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be life-changing. It just needs to be good. Having a good product is the bare minimum of having a business. Maybe if his test buds were truly messed up, and that is really like an optimistic assumption from my point of view, then he could have his friends, if he has any friends of his age, taste his coffee and snacks to make sure they're at least decent. Again, they don't need to be great, but they shouldn't be trash either, because once someone tastes your trash product or service and tells their friends, and they tell their friends, everyone is going to assume that whatever you serve is trash, and then you lose the opportunity to actually, make money, to make your business successful. So make sure your product is good. Step 4 is finding your target market and appealing to them. Now, step 3 and step 4 can be interchanged depending on your reasons for starting a business, as well as whatever kind of business you're trying to start. Anyway, finding your target market and appealing to them. Just because you have a cafe and good coffee doesn't mean, it's enough. It's not enough. If you don't know who your business is for, you won't know how to market your offers, how to speak to them, and how to make certain decisions within your business and for your business. For example, Jaerim could decide he wants to serve university students because he's literally right outside the university. Or he could go a different route and decide to target the university professors. That will affect the kind of speech he uses in his marketing, the kind of colors he uses, the entire vibe of his place, the prices as well, and even the food he serves. And this step leads to step number 5, which is all about the look and feel. So step 5 is design and aesthetics. The audience and customer base that Jaerim chooses will highly affect how his business looks and feels and sounds, as I've said before. If he decides to target university students, maybe more female students, then maybe having an interior and a menu that they'd want to snap and share on Instagram is important. His food and drinks can't be too pricey because the average university student can't afford it. But if he's trying to go for an elite feel, maybe as a date spot or something of that sort, then that means his menu items need to be literally great. He needs to have more than a good product. But if he decides to target university professors and staff, that will also affect what kind of food he serves, the overall vibe of the place. Yeah, etc. As he's still new, he may not be sure what kind of unique experience he wants to share with his customers or what kind of reputation he wants to build. When he has a grasp on that particular field that he wants to share, also known as the experience, and the reputation he wants to build, then he can improve on his visual aesthetics, his photography, his identity system, which is your logos, colors, and fonts and prints or other graphic elements, his packaging, his interior design, and his overall aesthetics. But since it's still his first year in business, he just needs to have a consistent and professional look that matches his current modern and industrial feel. Step 6 is marketing and building his community. Since Jaerim has younger friends and a fashionable main character, asking them to help with his marketing by either posting on Instagram when they visit or asking them to help him take pictures or videos of him at work as well as his dog, because people love dogs, could help put his business on people's radar. Of course, his coffee needs to be good. If your product is not good, please do not ask your friends or family to share your business in a way that lies to the people they'll be sharing to. Please, I stress this out. Make sure your product is good, always. Step number 7 is having a grand mission or vision. So when he's done the bare minimum, which is step 1 to step 6, it's time for him to elevate his business standing, because now he knows he knows what he wants to do, he knows who he wants to target, he knows what kind of service he wants to give, he knows what kind of experience he wants to share. So having your grand mission or vision, or something that you want your business to pursue, could help with your business standing if you want a lasting business. Step 8, which is the last step, is having branded offers. Now, if he's done step 1 to step 6, then he can start to brand his offers to make his cafe a little bit more unique. For example, if he's targeting university students studying art, because like the main character and her friends do art, you can have like a seasonal offer, like a pre-exam menu item inspired by a successful, famous, historical, or modern artist, and package that item in a way that represents that artist's work, and then offer it as some sort of good luck charm for artists in the university. And that's it. Those are the 8 steps you need to take before and after you start your business. Again, this is how it helped Jaerim start his business as well as fix his business since it's already up and running. These are the 8 steps I'd suggest almost every business owner take. So with that said, we're done. Please like and subscribe if this has been helpful for you, and if you want to hear more branding and business stories, tips, and strategies. If you need a personalized approach and help planning and launching your business, there'll be a link in the description if you want me as your guide and partner to help you with your business. Also, if there is a webtoon with business elements that you'd want me to break down as a case study, then leave your recommendations in the comments. A webtoon preferably, because I'm in the season of reading, but you can also share your K-drama recommendations, maybe an American or European show, as long as it's in English, or an anime, as long as it's decent. With that said, thank you for listening to the end, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!